Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin, its valuation against the US dollar, coming back into the fold of $60,000. We're seeing the first test of the prior all-time high, and it's quite a sight to see. It's been a long time. Let's get into it. So, Bitcoin is up about a little over 4% for today, is up 9.41% for the week, bringing us to a valuation of 59,864. The prior all-time high, you could say, is about 59,871, but I would just round it up to 60. And then the second test, I think, would be the all-time high, prior all-time high, which is at $64,000 wherever this wick lands. It wicked up to 64,895. So those would be the two lines, two milestones, two obstacles, whatever you want to call it, for Bitcoin. And we had the assumption that this bounce off the 20-week moving average would result in a rally and possibly testing these levels. And here we are today, 3 weeks later, testing those levels. Now, um, the question is do we break these levels on the first attempt? Well, that's quite possible. And looking at the RSI, currently being at 65.22, it seems like we still have room to grow. As you can see on Bitcoin on the weekly, Bitcoin is fully capable of spending a lot of time above the 70 level on the RSI, meaning it can stay in overbought territory for weeks, for months even. So don't be disarmed to think that we have to get rejected or come back down, or when we hit 70, that's when we have to start selling. No, Bitcoin is completely capable of staying there for months on end, weeks if not months, in overbought territory, which would lead to the belief that Bitcoin can break these levels and continue on higher. That is one scenario. The other scenario is we get rejected, and that is okay too. Or if we just kind of mosey along this line, that is also a possibility as well. When we look at the prior all-time high here of $20,000 when we were fighting it, we kind of got rejected, right? Remember this wick, we got rejected right back down to 16,000, but wicked back up and then rallied another six and then came back and wicked back down. This was a pretty intense fight, and this lasted for 3 weeks. So, this being the, if you want to call it the week one of testing the prior all-time high, we can very well spend a couple of weeks at this level just chilling about. With that said, let's take a look at, for example, during the period of November into December, what altcoins were doing. So let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance and take a look at November. So you can actually see that at that point, Bitcoin dominance dropped. So we saw a little rally from altcoins, just a little bit, only until the first week of December, where Bitcoin actually broke the prior all-time high, and then we saw another rally, and then altcoins couldn't keep up. And that's kind of like what we're seeing here. If anything, okay, if you guys are worried about what altcoins are looking to do, a good example would be to kind of look at what happened the last time Bitcoin was testing a prior all-time high, right? This figure here. We saw the rally, the initial rally to the prior all-time high. We got rejected, or if you want to say, just towed the line on the prior all-time high. Then Bitcoin broke its prior all-time high, and then we saw another rally. And so you can argue, you can make an argument to say that this is happening again, right? So you could see here, it doesn't line up as well, but you can see that here we are at our initial rally, right, from the 20-week moving average. Bitcoin rallies, Bitcoin gets to its prior all-time high of $60,000, kind of toes the line, so we see a rally from altcoins at that point, and then we see Bitcoin break the prior all-time high and come back, and start to rally again, only for it to be after for altcoins to take the reins. So this is a kind of example of what it could look like. It could. Okay, could is a very is the key word here. Okay, Bitcoin can get rejected back down to the 20-week moving average, which would result in a different kind of reaction from altcoins. Bitcoin can just simply keep on moving sideways. Like it toes the line, but it toes the line for months on end. That's also a possibility. In which case, altcoins would really gain the upper hand from Bitcoin, which would be very nice. Or Bitcoin just goes straight through. Bitcoin can simply just cut through these levels like it's nothing and continue to rally. In which case, altcoins will continue to bleed. So at this point, what do I have? Or what am I going to do? I still have my futures contracts with Bitcoin. I was thinking of selling, but I didn't, considering that they expire way into the future. I think it's June and September of 2022. Those two futures contracts. So those have uh, those have long expiries, and I'm not in a rush to sell all of it yet. Mainly because I think that Bitcoin will break this prior all-time high. Not maybe not now, but eventually. And my bet is that it's going to do it before my contracts expire. And I think that's a pretty safe bet. Also keep in mind, okay, I talk about futures contracts sometimes. I am not doing anything more than a 2x leverage. Uh, so if you're thinking I'm here putting like 10x leverage on my contracts, you'd be sorely mistaken. Anything above 2 is extremely risky in my opinion. Even right now, to get even specific, it's even less than a percent leverage, like a 1x leverage. I think it's like 0.5. I think. If say for example you have a contract of worth 1 Bitcoin, you have essentially 1.5 Bitcoin as as your margin essentially. Um, the reason why is because I don't want to get liquidated, and that's just my strategy when using futures contracts. Just getting a little bit more exposure on your Bitcoin, I think is a good thing. It's no different than taking a loan from like Celsius, for example. I don't take the loan out of Celsius. I just use a futures contract instead and just have an expiry for next year. And I think that works perfectly fine for the way I trade. So yeah, keep that in mind. If you thought that I was doing like 10x leverage or something, no, nothing even further, like nowhere near 2x for that matter. So keep that in mind. The last thing you want to do is get liquidated during this very bullish period, especially when things get really out of hand and you start seeing crazy wicks. Those are the ones that get you. Okay, it's not. It could be like these moves here where it breaks the 20-week moving average, but in my opinion, it's those flash crashes that really get to you, and having 10x leverage can really um kind of bring that away to say at the very least that you'd get liquidated and then you're left with nothing, right? So I think getting more exposure for Bitcoin is great, but just be conscious about your leverage, right? And keep in mind also that those contracts I bought in at at the 20 week essentially. They're both at the 20 week, and I have considerable gap room here, so I'm not necessarily too worried about a pullback either. Anyway, that's all for today, you guys. Bitcoin is making a huge test here, um, and we'll see how it does. But that's all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.